So perhaps taking a look at some of the accountability mechanisms to ensure, and perhaps making sure that if there is going to be a new CEO of PPL, there are very clear performance requirements by the board. And if they are not able to meet that, then obviously you may Rausim Desla Man or Desla Merina, put someone else in. We've got to keep going like that until it works. If you want to continue to support PPL, na continue to give him susu longem, na baby food longem, na lugaut him. We've got to be strict about who is going to be in charge of that. And that person or those individuals need to have very strict performance criteria attached to them. The other thing I did not see in this report was that there is no identification of what are the major loss areas that result in PPL coming to this point where it owes 900 million to its creditors. Is someone going to identify where the major loss-making areas are? And is it pertinent for this house to know? You may need lo sabe. One M Sunday straight make him only losing money to the point where they now owe 900 odd million to their creditors. And then on top of that, do we have a risk management strategy for PPL going forward? Most importantly for the country, energy is not a simple thing that we can mess around with, as we can see now. Businesses are suffering, ordinary people are suffering. We are not expanding the grid. So what risk management strategy are we putting in place to ensure that the country does not arrive at another point in the future where we suffer the same consequences, because this is still a monopoly. We will still be at the mercy of PNG power. So sabosoli walk krangi, mibla ba still kisimpenyet. So I'd like to see that risk management strategy that guarantees the leaders of this country sitting in this house, but also that guarantees the people of Papua New Guinea that you can solve this problem once and for all. Now, if we cannot, then there's a fallback position that the government will adopt. And finally, once the good minister is ready and all the hardworking people from Kumul Holdings get to work on PNG power, I would like to request that the good minister come back to this house and present to the honorable members what the turnaround strategy looks like, so that Yumi Olgada can appreciate him. Now Yumi Olgada can look savvy so that we can hold the management and the board of PPL accountable. So with that, I want to commend and thank the minister, and thank you, Honorable Speaker. Good blalo lukim you come back Laos na mi hamamas. On behalf of the people of Pacific, thank you very much.
The Honorable Governor for NCD.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Give me a chance to contribute to this debate. But before me go inside the debate, one kind too, also more honorable member, me like talk me amas look you back now, you fit na healthy na. Me like wishing you on behalf of our people in the city good, long health. Come back to debate with me. I think from the outset, me like to thank you, long minister. And you may put in plenty pressure on him, and it's appropriate now, deserving that you may put in pressure on minister. Because you may already feel him there's a plain long failure of PPL, PNG power. They have not performed well, and the report here confirms it. Now you may stop on one stage where what are we going to do? You mean by trusting minister and trust the process that is going on? Or you mean by suggest the minister for other option? And I want to say from the outset that we should be open to other option. Because Mr. Speaker, I think bottom line this right, you can ask him yet. Suppose you plan you plan like investing money you may all member ya. Would you honestly personal money you? Would you want to put your money in PNG power? With this current condition, Longen? And if you honestly know that your money going in, personal money you, account you yet, you're going to invest in this company, that it will not bring you any return, then I think we have to think about the other change. Perhaps radical or some governor is speaking me talk long. Because me looking, if I was a banker, I wouldn't put my money in PNG Power right now. Because I know that by no return long. Me no confidence was by got all steps that we are taking, and PNG Power in its current condition will be able to recover and come to financial, situation where and by able to be a viable company again, providing service, maybe making ends meet, or even make a profit. This is a situation where me looking at the choices that you may got to start. Now me, respected minister, now you may can, give a commendation to the minister that he's trying his best. Minister, there's no doubt you are trying your best. You are doing what you can. You're trying to drive the, the board and the management. Now you're coming up with all this 15 or so, structural change over 6 months, so that we ask, Mr. Speaker, 15 years' time, maybe there will be a recovery time. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, I don't think we have 15 years. We can't wait for 15 years. Power is essential. Energy is essential to just basic life, and then to business, and then to the economy. You will get a Here in Port Moresby, Mr. Speaker, I have to speak on behalf of our people, my constituent here in Port Moresby. People are going to come up, power company, yeah? All the corporates, they have to buy their own generators. Instead of doing their core business, they have to operate their own generator, backup generator. They have to buy fuel. And who pays the cost? They're passing the cost to everyone. This is the significance of this failure. The economy cannot function. No investor will come here and set up a manufacturing company if the power is not reliable. And now we are into digital age. All this IT company, they wouldn't dare come to PNG because power is unreliable. So this is the situation, dire situation. Minister, give me to thank you, Minister, Mr. Speaker, I am honest. When we are honest, then maybe we will find out, come up with an answer or solution. So you may giving credit long, Minister of this side. But I see, Mr. Speaker, that we are doing the same thing. And Governor Yumi is speaking Tokyo. When there is a problem, you may find him money now, you may put him inside. And we just get public funds and put it in to try to solve this problem. Because that's the easy way out. Well, public buy not up to you mix in money now. So now we are going into this 1.75 billion to spend over 15 years with a hope that PNG Power is going to turn around. Mr. Speaker, me agree one time, Governor Bloy speak. We need radical surgery, or otherwise, let's bite the bullet. Make a critical strategic decision. Mr. Speaker, if we need to fire sale PNG Power, let's fire sale it now. With what the status or situation it is in now, strip it up. Salim Sabla part where, we can make business, or some people who can take over it, private sector, for example, they take over it so they can, build it up to be profitable, or if not profit, maybe they're just making ends meet, and at least they're providing service. Governor, you speak talk, you mean radical surgery. Me think also, we are at a stage where we have to think about a fire sale. Something got some value we stop yet. You mean Salim, we make strategic decisions, Salim, so that we can start to have a real recovery. Honorable members, you may think the this la. Me think you may look long situation of PNGBC, Mr. Speaker. PNGBC, I don't think was maybe in as worse condition as PNG Power. But what did we do? We fire sale it. It was fire sale. Because you may get the value of PNGBC with all this asset all over the country now, saving all people blame me. I don't think it's worth the sale that was sold to BSP. I think it was undersold. It was not properly valued now, Salem. But the government had to make a decision, Mr. Speaker, about PNGBC. And look at the turnaround now. BSP you can complain, but BSP underpinning economy and stuff. It's everywhere in PNG. It's going to the Pacific. Now it might go to Asia. Because we made, and the government at the time made a very decisive, critical decision. PNGBC now, if we do not act, maybe and by go nothing. We'll lose all the saving law people blame me, all the investment law government. It's better we don't put public funds into it, we just sell it in whatever state it's up. And true value, right value, under value, at least you mix in some money back. And then government can buy, retaining some shares. Mr. Speaker, this is what we did with PNGBC. Now it's a thriving company. Of course, you can complain, you may got right to complain. But we must be happy that government at the time made a decisive decision. Now we are at the stage where about PNG Power. But you may go ahead and get this, spend this 1.75 billion over 15 years. When I'm guaranteed, I can see the minister me to thank you. So all this suggestion into operational efficiency, optimizing people and culture, financial management and strengthening. All these things are good, but Mr. Speaker, one passing along, you me human beings, me like talk, using a bit of psychology. How people do things is how they do things. Passing along mania, you me adult especially, it's already fixed by our subconscious mind. It fixes our behavior and our habit. Speaker, you will look at your behavior every day. You know such things. When time you get up, when time you go was, you shave to a nogado, and you yet sabe, you know shave. It's already fixed. How people do things is how they do things. So we won't expect some people, if we don't do radical change. So following argument law, Governor Law is to change overnight now, suddenly they'll be efficient and they'll be effective and they'll be productive and they'll be able to provide a viable company again and service, never mind profit. Me must be not busy PNG Power working profit or not, but at least I'm giving service. But we cannot even have service. If they make ends meet, like recover all the expense, and by your right too, but we got a big debt. We got a big debt. You need another 1.75 billion in one top, another big blood debt too. What's the guarantee by 15 years by come around? So I'm concerned when we think we are at the stage where we can follow advice from Governor Blaisivic, radical surgery. Well, I don't know what it is. I'm no doctor to come up with this type of suggestion. But you may cut the leg long or lower long when I'm up. Otherwise, we bite the bullet and do a fire sale, whatever the value. M worth 1 kilo, 100 kilo, 1 million, Salimo. You may divide him now. When you got something PNGBC can, PNG Power can keep him and keep him. What you can sell him so that the other players come on? Let's do that. I want, Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying is that that option should be also available to the minister. Him talk about you give 6 months or something. I think you start thinking about it now. This is what I want to suggest. It's up to us, honorable members, you blow cabinet, you blow making decision, but sometimes we bite the bullet and make a decision that can give us a better outcome for tomorrow instead of same thing. And New Guinea is going into whatever, no got money and no get making profit. What do? You make some money blow public now, go give law in New Guinea. Service is still poor. They don't even make ends meet, never mind profit. But it's a black hole that we keep on putting public money going in. Why? Because it's public money. So much money blow you blow one law here. Money blow you me yet. We won't put our money in New Guinea. So why are you mixing money blow public and put it law in New Guinea? Or for that matter, other state-owned enterprises that are not doing well. This is the option that we make. Mr. Speaker, me proposal for me is stop me talk. It's early days. Maybe it won't deteriorate anymore. You may walk in fire sale if we have to. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Abao, MP for Abao.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and welcome to the Chair. Good to see you back in charge of this Honourable House. I want to appreciate and commend the Honourable Minister for this very truthful statement that the Minister has given on this entity that all of us have been complaining about for a long, long time. And I want to associate myself with the two honourable governors that have spoken before me. Particularly on my strong belief that governments have proven that we are not good in managing business. When we interfere, businesses never make profit and never expand. And so in this debate, Honourable Speaker, I'm speaking on behalf of the 50,000 people of Abao who I have been representing on this floor, and this is my 5th term. Since 2002, when I stood, I've been visiting all the CEOs of the PNG Power, ELCOM, PPL. But today, Mr. Speaker, power has stopped in Rigo. The neighboring electorate is called Abao. And it still hasn't covered the whole of Rigo. It's now gone to Hula, and it's still there. 40 years, things have stopped. Power has stopped expanding beyond Rigo. And I know going the other way towards Kairuku is still the same. Mr. Speaker, shamefully, when we hosted a meeting of central leaders, the Minister for International Trade came and spoke to us. And he blasted us and saying this power is so close, why haven't you fought for it to come to as far as Kairuku Hiri then, and then as far as Abao? He blasted us. Today in the debate, on behalf of the people of Abao, when people are complaining of frequent blackouts in cities, we have been in blackout forever. And nobody seems to be thinking about us for those who have not yet accessed power. We complain about blackout. I complained here on the floor about blackout. 2 weeks ago, it was twice a day. And I complained. But our people, Abao and others that have not yet been connected, have been blackout way before independence and are still there. And therefore, Honourable Speaker, on behalf of the people of Abao, the Honourable Governor for East Sepik spoke the medical language, which is my TEF. But I want to speak his TEF, who is a contractor. We don't need to rehabilitate the building, do a maintenance. No, we have to build a new house. Demolish it. change it altogether. Government arm's length. Maybe, I'm thinking, maybe put it through IPO, initial public offering, nest fund, provincial governments, private sector. They will then bid and see where the interest is. Rather than waiting for 15 years. I've been waiting for 20 years. I won't be on the floor of Parliament for 15 years. I want my people of Abau to have power today. We've been missing power. And so, like the private companies that are buying generators and solars, we've been living a very expensive life just to have one switch on for light and a refrigerator to keep our fish fresh before we bring them to the market to make ice blocks. And one kind life here, Honorable Speaker. Isn't there an entity that manages our power in the country, that they generate 1 billion kina a year? And then our hardworking minister is trying to go back to the maintenance again, organizational efficiency. How many times have different ministers done that? Optimizing people and culture? What kind of optimizing they need? Financial management, nuclear something to strengthen it. Business recapitalization, yeah, I agree. We need more injection, but government has too many priorities. And therefore, in this instance, I think, Minister, we should look at the other serious options rather than follow these 8 steps for the next 15 years. Long time here, Minister, 15 years. If you had 15 years to 40 years since independence, that Abau people have not had power, and Goilala people have not had power, Teleformin people have not had power. You think that's fair? It seems that's good government? No, Gatia. In my book, no, Gatia, we have failed there. And so, Honorable Speaker, providing electricity, we're not going to create new technology to do it. No, Gatia. Hydro systems is proven. Solar systems is tapped. All the IPPs are hydro and our gas is there. It's not new technology, so you go and find out which technology is good to expand the power to the rest of the country. No, Gatia. Same technology is tapped here. And so, my humble opinion on behalf of the people of Abau who have been denied electricity from time immemorial, the PPL, Minister Nuclear Building here, he brought us 15 years of maintenance, changing louver, changing water tap, changing leaking roof. Base here, rotten here. Tema is finishing here. We need a new building. Completely new structure. Get the provincial government to participate. Get our super funds to participate. Or interested private company that are already billing us high bills through IPP, independent power providers. Interesting stuff, yeah? What kind of balance sheet do you want to create? And then you sell. So I urge you, Minister, through the Speaker, please listen to the debate. I think the debate is new building, radical surgery. Radical surgery too is not enough here. And by same mania, same Mary Stapia, new clone, new human being, clone it. Clone the new human being and a new look human being through cloning. Not radical surgery even, it's not even fit, it won't change it. Honorable Speaker, that's my honest opinion. Government has proven no good in running businesses. Private sector out there, I think they have the business acumen, the capability, management and financial capability to participate. Why don't we give them a chance? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
All honorable members, mi luk sawe lo yung plandi like debate lo sa issue long Yumilo PPL and important. I will allow all of you to have time to discuss. So you sign up nami makim narpla. And by time will come, you still continue, but you must discuss. So there's a discussion. So let's plan. We look sabe pastem long opposition leader. I'm sign up. So PN me come on some upside lohan soon. Honorable opposition leader.
Thank you, through Speaker. Na lo side from the opposition too. Mi pla hamama sulu you come back. Na kisim siana running this meeting lo tete. So mi pla hamama sulu this pla. I just wanted to convey that. I also want to compliment the minister, and I do agree with all the honorable leaders that spoke on this same issue before me, and it's a honest report, and on the status of PPL. Mr. Speaker, some time back I was reading this article on a power company in China, and they were struggling, like our PPL here. But after the government took some reform measures, the Chinese power company now is among the top 10 world's richest company in the world, in the Forbes ranking. And so that is how, if we effectively and properly run our SOEs, like our PPL, it can be a very, very well-established and richest company in the country, perhaps the region, and then it may be able to provide the kind of service that we need, that our people need, and run it rather successfully and profitably as well, and add on more revenue to the state. That's what they are there for. A small business arm long government. But the way things are going, and thank you, Minister, for the report. What we've pretty much noted, Speaker, and I'm very concerned about the auditor's report into PPL, and I just want to reread here, quote, PPL's audited financial statements continue to be disclaimed, which signifies the view of the external auditor that the information is missing or does not exist, and therefore the auditor cannot provide an opinion on the accuracy of the accounts. Mr. Speaker, this auditor's report, now opinion dongen, is very, very striking. It's a way of saying that there are questionable expenditures within PNG Power. And therefore, I would like to suggest that we engage investigative auditors, independent, maybe external, to come in and go through na auditing books long, PPL again, because the opinion of the Auditor General is basically saying that there are corruption. There is corruption, that there are corruptive instances here, and so that's a way of them making that kind of statement. So me looking this plan, and I'm very, very concerned about that kind of auditor's comments. And I think we need to move into that area. I think it's about time we need to start getting some of those board or management jail time past them. Yumi Larimol now will continue long, sit down on top long big perks and privileges. And they are not doing what they are supposed to be doing to our people, for our nation. And we just said what the honorable member for Abao is saying. You know, Tasol, Yumi Olgata, plus Plumito Loken and Gloucester, 200 years ago they discovered electricity, and still now we are still without electricity. The entire electorate is outside the grid. Mr. Speaker, I'm also naim dikla tok concern to us, especially long what PPL is doing, and I want to also thank the minister for it's come out and they talk out straight on. We also know that PPL is spending more than it receives. More than it receives. Only national government got the ability to spend more than it receives, because lo going to deficit. Financing the budget long. Minus long agencies of the state, whether all got this like power long, spend more than they receive or not. So this plan now it's a very bad management. Also bad board. Now all this plan get the line. Look behind him talk all previous because all need to be replaced. they have to be replaced. The fact that management issue affecting PPL, and which me like give me caution, like you mean, is that it's not a prerequisite for us to privatize. I think suppose you got plenty competitors stuff, now you privatize and by all right, but you can create a monopoly. Or some suggestion that you look long. This like corporatization and no work, so what about you look PPP? Where you can share in 50% of the risks profit one time. So I'm more suggesting la look long before it. But this is a management issue. And we must deal with the management. Me acknowledging that 439 million kina, which government give him out law 2019, sorry, 2021, long as a lifeline to help through the Kumul Holding to help him display PPL. And then law 2020, or recently, me like acknowledge him too. This is 1 billion kina funding by PNG government, supported by ADB, World Bank. Lo trying to help him. This is a PPL of develop 15-year plan blongan. The only issue, Mr. Speaker, is that it's not about the money. Money is important, but you must address him. This is a creature, parliament, or call him PPL. These reforms are important, but we need to look at the issue of that 15-year plan, particularly also Honorable Member about him talk. Me like looking inside of this plan. Now talk minister. I want to see how is PPL going to penetrate the entire rural areas of this country. Now spreading power go along get a happen. Right now, I start to solo city now, leben areas taso. You know, go out the inside the bush. So all get a reform now, something give me talk long anya. Me like him by me must move him go inside long all get a hub. So that put the rest, the entire nation into the grid. So that they can make money and become a very rich and powerful SOE in this country. We can't continue to maintain the small pocket and complain about so many things and getting so many handouts, and yet we are still in the same old space. So me, lo bekim talk blong, Governor Blo, NCD. I'm not putting my money on PNG, on the current PPL board and management. That is how sad that they have brought the once proud ELCOM back in the days to the current sorry stage of affairs that we are now seeing now before us. And I just want to say, shame on them, shame on the board, and shame on the management. Thank you.
The Honorable Milulu Hansut yang belah member blok kerja, but lapun long bak saja milare yang pastembian yang belah ba migim time belah you. Honorable Governor belong Wesley Britain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Larim lapun talk pastem. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Me too. Joining all Narapla leaders, welcome you back, Law Parliament. Thank you, Law Gutla Health, Law you. Mr. Speaker, let me comment the Minister with this statement. For me personally, this statement gives some ray of hope that something serious has been done in PNG Power. Mr. Speaker, I've been a minister for this particular SOE for almost like 2 years. I thought you by look Shavelomina by giving me opportunity. Thank you. Hello. Hard to look this side, yes, Speaker. Right hand side blow you. Blaming you. But Mr. Speaker, for me personally, this statement gives some ray of hope. Me ari molgata talk. Me ari molgata talk blow senior leaders all governor talk whether you mean by suppose PNG Power igolo IPO whether you mean by investing or you mean by risky money blow you mean this kind. Lo me personally, if I hold this statement to be true, then me by personally investing money lo PNG Power. Even opposition leader talk how on the Chinese company transformed into, profit-making entity, because the fact that PNG Power is a monopoly and it has all the power to generate income. with the level of the infrastructure and investments they've already done. Mr. Speaker, one thing we fail to understand also, that we keep saying that we want the entire nation to be connected. We want the grids to be extended. At what cost? Usad by funding this extension of this grid and all those things. PNG Power as a power generating company and giving power, then it is possible. But to connect the entire country, that is not possible, and we need billions and billions of kina. We all the time talk about some community projects connecting to rural areas and all those things. Who will be funding it? In any commercial business, if PNG Power is a private company, will that private company, fund all those rural areas if there is no, commercial point of view that they can generate income? And you have to invest like one grid, starting from New Power coming to Garagu or into Port Moresby, it costs almost 30 million kina or 40 million kina just to transport power. Then there is also inconsistency, projects which we do some kind of knee-jerk investments where you have much more bigger power to transport, with New Power producing almost 54 megawatt. Drio produces another 45 megawatt. Now you got Nupla Hydro, which me are mollied by building separate power lines, because the power lines now we got Karim load also 50 megawatt. It can carry maximum of 20 megawatt or 25 megawatt. So M2 one play big challenge. So we need to take into account the cost of community projects expected from every respective SOEs, whereby they cannot really make any profit or money. And then we keep expecting them to declare profit. For me, more than profit, the extent of service we can give it to our people, that opposition leader correctly said, when are we going to connect the entire country by grid? And also we have the geographical challenge whereby plenty of yumi to stop low island remote areas where hard low yumi by, unless you got also Europe technology where you can pull him power line underneath lo sita sol na you can connect him lo all gata remote islands na this. Another one challenge, Mr. Speaker, I'm thankful that Minister has mentioned about the ADB policy-based loan. Mr. Speaker, I'm time blooming people are negotiating this policy-based loan. It's purely on a very, very minor reforms. Also I'm all dictating me play it talk this reforms where start with merit-based appointment. For me, if you give importance to that merit-based appointment, which I'm sure currently it's right now it's happening, then 50% of the problems can be solved purely on merit-based appointment, and then appointing one female director in each board, being transparent, publishing our accounts report and all those things. So these are basic things for any businesses to do, and that's what we agreed. And ADB has approved $500 million, and Minister have clearly stated in his statement that so far 860 million received in Kina in 2021, and another 850 million received in December 2022. That is almost 1.7 billion kina, to give budget support based on these policy reforms. And I'm thankful that government finally has helped KCH, part of this money to help some of these entities like PNG Power, Air Niugini, which are, financially suffering. One thing also we need to notice, Mr. Speaker, is that many times we blame all the SOEs. I want to look at it differently, that government being a major customer to all those SOEs, be it water, be it electricity, be it telecommunication. How much government was as we speak right now, at this time? Government was PNG Power 46 million kina. Then how you buy expecting more low, go na buying bills low, pumana, kisim diesel na buying diesel na supply low, province. Yeah, province people suffer no good through. Governor ECP talk. Province, sample time 2 weeks continuously no power. Even lo Kimbe people giving power to solo residents na hospital to solo. Lo halfway me sleep yet. People are also buying 300 liters diesel. Lo every 2 days once. Every 2 days once people are burning 300 liters. Na tu this la agony, this anxiety of arim sound blow generator na yuba purade no good turu. Time generator cut off. All got a tenant to buy suffer, you to buy suffer, business buy suffer, na play passim store, na all got this la something. Yeah? Provinces are the most suffering. One plus suggestion to show me like to talk and Prime Minister to support him this la thing. Why not PNG Power focus lo this la profitable grid, where Port Moresby grid, a Ramu grid, a Gessel grid. This la triple a major grid where MSA making profit lo PNG Power. Now you rouse him sampla unprofitable, operations. Also in Kimbe, KVN, Vivek, Daru, all this up here, PNG Power makes loss. Meaning, PNG Power, by hard through bringing fuel come inside of these locations, now cost of producing power is almost like 1 kina 20 toya. And they are forced to sell it for 80 toya, 90 toya. Mr. Speaker, in the last 10 years, you may not allow PNG Power for political reason. You may pour it also. Suppose you may up in price all public by Koros na this laya. But the public also need to know what is the real cost of production of power or generation of power. That it's costing 1 kina 20 toya and your PNG Power is expected to sell it for 80 toya and 90 toya. Then how do you expect that organization to make profit? Obviously, whatever the profit they make, they have to cover the losses from these loss-making centers outside. So, me suggestion to me also, why not you cut him up this loss-making operations? Yeah? Now, give him respective provincial government in partnership with, proper, for example, Kimbe, okay, you may partner on time New Britain palm oil. Now, you may running this operation also. It's a loss-making operation anyway. So why you holding this loss-making operations, causing heavy loan, the company where it has the potential to generate, huge income and also continue to do the service. So, me looking also now you got political will. Minister making some strong statement. Now, suggesting this 8 point or 10 point key reforms, key areas where suppose through you may implement him. Then there is hope. You may no need panic or you may no need fire sale. Mr. Speaker, fire sale is the easiest option. You can work him also how you may shall give up PNG BC. Of course, it makes a big difference when you have a private company running an organization. So one suggestion posed by opposition leader to talk public-private partnership for this organization where NASFund can involve, provincial governments can involve, so that this organization also can be revived, and also it gives the additional support from the expertise from these respective organizations who has been running businesses rather than the government continue to run this one as a 100% government entity. The cost of production for PNG Power in many sense through diesel, it costs more than 1 kina. Even the supposed to be the low cost power, they talk about gas, they talk about hydro, they talk about other solar and other options. Solar you got no major commercial ones. Mr. Speaker, it is not the cost which we really hear and see. There are so many other hidden costs involved for PNG Power. They call it pass-through cost. That means 1 kilowatt, all by 35 cents, 36 toya or 40 toya. But then you have PNG Power need buying to this cost flow pass-through gas. They also have to pay for capital recovery cost. Time you add him up all this together, then it is going to, on an average, cost him even, whether through gas or whether through any other means, it's going to cost 82 toya. The only cheapest cost in the midst of PNG Power's generation, that is from New Britain palm oil. That is from that methane gas, because there is no pass-through gas, because gas and fermented gas from the oil palm waste. So there is no separate cost to pay for the gas. So that is the cheapest source available, which is like 36 toya per kilowatt. Now all work Koros also Mipla give him. Now to almost supply him too low. This promised 1 megawatt power. They hardly give like 500 kilowatt of power, but they all work expecting that PNG Power by revising cost, now by giving all 50 toya or 60 toya, which me by supporting because this cost is still cheaper than burning the diesel, and this is a green power. Now companies too, all by taking advantage, claiming this carbon credit through this methane gas plant. So that is the only cheapest power mix. Of course, this applicable Port Moresby or Leh or all got the centers where got this resource waste oil pump. But when I'm up, you got oil pump, you got opportunity to set him up this methane gas plant where people are keen also public-private partnership supporting this kind initiative. Now, Speaker, the minister has already taken initiative. I think some misunderstanding this 15 years all meaning 15 years and by taking reform that the great upgrade program, because now me looking got issue power generation must be great. You got plenty power stuff. You got new power, you got Dirio, you got Edevu, and most of these ones are much better power than the diesel source. So The issue of these 15 years is like mostly on the grid upgrade, like upgrading Mosby grid, upgrading that Ramu grid, upgrading that Gesell grid, which I believe the minister has already, embarked into implementing those upgrading of that major grids. That is the main reason, especially in these all major three grids, for the continuous fluctuation of power, and also the blackout issue is all caused by this lack of upgrade to all this very, very old infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, some of these infrastructures are like 30 years old, 40 years old, which needs a complete, overhaul. And I'm thankful that the major, our major development partners like ADB, committing 720 million, and Australian Infrastructure Finance Fund committing 250 million, and the World Bank committing 105 million. Mr. Speaker, I don't think these reputable organizations will contribute or commit any such funding that if they know that there is something wrong, with any organization. So, and I'm thankful that these three organizations are, supporting to upgrade all our major grids. And I believe that the tender for upgrading this major grid is currently out. That not 15 years, but within the next 2 or 3 years, I feel that major upgrades can be done for these three major grids. The main point, Mr. Speaker, is to allow or to focus PNG Power on the profitable organizations. And also for the government, I'm talking about 46 million government owes to PNG Power. At any point of time, government owes like at least 200 to 300 million kina. Combined with all SOEs, the water PNG government could be owing another 60 or 70 million kina. So we need to also meet our commitments. We need to honor our commitments, and of course, coming to these community projects and meeting expectation of every members of parliament to bring power lines into their respective districts in remote areas. That of course need government investment. You minonaplo takolse mimi west in money blow public money law go putimlo disla remote areas, islands or districts. It brings that tangible development which all the members aspiring for their people. And Mr. Speaker, like in the last 10 years, I mentioned that the PNG Power was not allowed to increase even one toya of fee. So how do you expect an organization, just because it's a government organization, will the private able to operate at this at this environment where when their cost of production is like more than 1 kina and they were forced to sell it for 70 toya or 80 toya? So you have no choice. Either government has to subsidize or government has to give those funding to such organizations, and we have to really capture the cost of all those community projects and tell the members of parliament that this is what exact the cost of community projects. That is actually one of the requirement in our reforms, that we need to bring the cost of community projects. And there is no point of talking about fire sale, which is not going to make any good thing for this organization. But if the reforms have started taking shape, and if these hard measures, as Minister alluded to or explained in his statement, as an important reform measures he is proposing through this statement, if all these eight measures are taken, I have a very big hope that we as provincial government or superannuation funds, we are more than happy to participate together with PNG Power to invest in PNG Power. And that's a path actually PNG Power should also go into, rather than being a 100% government organization. And I have a strong belief that right now we have that political will to turn around this company. It has been a challenging company. It's three companies which are like most challenging in SOEs. Are like number one is like PNG Power, number two is like Air Niugini, number three is like telecom in terms of its operational difficulties and trying to show the balance sheet or healthy balance sheet. So that is always been a challenge. And Mr. Speaker, I thank the Minister once again for his hard stand, determination to bring these much needed changes in PNG Power. It's not an easy organization to manage, with all the labor issues and many other challenges within that organization, but I appreciate the minister's determination to bring much needed changes for this energy company, national energy company, and I wish him all the best, and we hope to see some positive changes in this organization. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member for Kerama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the first time Blomilo talk, so thank you, all people Blomilo Keramano. Me too, me like joining this legal debate, but me try to keep him short. Me like talk, thank you, Minister of State-owned enterprise, talk this rescue and reform plan framework, PNG power. All people Blomilo Kerama too, all been facing big problem PNG power too. All stop 5 months without power na. All been complain. So all suppose me no sana blow floor of parliament and talk all two by one below me. So me looking some points where me like add goal of this debate now. Also give him some fair balance thinking go inside this la. Me looking this figure expenses blow PNG power last year. You meet 1.15 billion expenses. A big money through here. Now you compare him 938 million kina. Lo one year. 938 million kina. I'm close to billion pinisia. So PNG power is a very profitable SOE. You mean talk fire sale too. All got a company lo world look this la. All by jump come harap through na kissing this la suppose me salim. You must stand him this la organization. You must make him come out profitable. So why you must ask him, why now I make him close to 1 billion? Now I'm spending 1.15 billion. So me look this no me look cost fuel, diesel. Okay, how much through 1.15 billion? And me go fuel. Suppose you me look in this I think 50 to 60% and me go fuel, yeah. And big problem stuff finish here. Now suppose you compare him last 10 to 20 years. Expenses of PNG power I'm constant there. I'm constant. Now fuel price go on top here. Now by me expect him low, making profit. So the biggest question in the room that you must ask him is the fuel price. Fuel price may increase over maybe 100% in the last 10 to 20 years, making PNG power become unprofitable. And but not making profit. So me look him this land and me to okay, PNG power only got one black contract with them, Puma Energy, almost about 400 million. And this la all giving fuel on Narbla sources. So they're spending 400 to 500 million from these 938 million or expenses below 1.15 billion. That's a lot of money that they're spending on fuel alone. Time you look in PNG power, one problem to PNG power is that they are highly unionized. Time management like making decision, CEO like making decision, board like making decision. All union come jump now, talk, no can make him. So one plus something me look him not a problem. PNG power staff right across the country, this all get a staff role. They are highly remunerated. They're one of the highest paid public servants or say SOE inside the country. Only supranation blow only 15%. PNG power paying 15% of supranation blow. PNG power paying insurance blow. PNG power paying big blow, tax and privileges blow. So it is not a question of no God motivation na, this law. And me something first and foremost, and me problem blow, cost blow. Expenses blow, fuel take him up. Half of their expenses. So you may look something was a union system blow. How by me rush him this union system blow? Neutralize him so that management and the board can make him some decision move forward. Now you look 20 plus province or 22 plus province, PNG power operate low. 2 plus all profitable, yeah? Most been a lay. You mean cost center. You are a liability to PNG power. So you mean members, you mean so look power generation. You mean total power generation. Suppose you mean total rural electrification, you go pull him more power line go place by me. And by one how by you paying power, yeah? And fuel, yeah? Now PNG power by diesel lower. And by head up go cost blow, yeah? So now you mean should address him the problem of power generation. So the people look Kerama time like find out the issue. Me go me asking PNG power. You plus are consuming mamas. I found out that we were consuming 17,000 liters of diesel. That's equivalent to about 80 drums. And then that's about 100,000 already. You put him go a month, just 500,000. for a small center like Kerma, very small. But we're a cost center. And many of us, just to get diesel fuel to Daru, it's so costly. And then just to get diesel fuel from Leh to the Highlands provinces, it's also very costly. So me asking all this question to find out the problem of PNG power. So time me looking the problem of Kerma, maybe consuming 17,000 liters of fuel per week, costing close to 100,000. Only kissing this fuel, only transporting go around, PNG power transporting go around, costing transportation, logistics, all get something go around. And costing most 150,000 low, just fuel alone. And then at the end of the month, and me costing was 600,000. Me talking more this, me talk this something so that Mr. Speaker, he can put him something going to perspective. Huh? So 600,000 people spending low 1 per month. Only for all line blame low Kerema, only pay him 20 kina, 50 kina, 100 kina, only to make 50,000, 45 to 50,000 a month for PNG power. So PNG power is also already subsidizing us 400 to 500,000. And when you multiply by 12 months, it's in the millions already. And that goes 6 to 7 million. And Mr. Speaker, that I can say that goes for all the 17 centers. That's already putting a lot of pressure on PNG power. So PNG power is doing well. Whilst we are accusing PNG power of its failures, PNG power is doing very well in its community service obligations to the people of Papua New Guinea. Now you got a blackout too. You mean appreciate him also, you got blackout. But you mean also more leaders in this floor of parliament, you mean must find him solution. So Mikla look solution or some. Okay, one have something to you look. You mean look hydro. You mean look mini hydro. Okay, you mean got all DMO stuff. You mean look this la. 400 million can paid just to one fuel company. It's a lot of money. You mean look alternatives. So time me look something. Meeting him or some privatization blow PNG power is not a solution. You mean need look some reform. Maybe partial sale of it or something so that you can bring him some good expert line council or sit on the board, no good management team lo come said na all can look narba something that dimio go management issues, this law something strategy, no narba something. But I think the biggest problem with PNG power and 50% of their cost is fuel consumption of fuel. Now you must look alternative. You make a gas stop here. You look alternative. So me like commend him. Minister, this is a good statement. Me want a good statement. Me put in perspective. Me look him me document him good because me talk facts and figures. That you your leaders you can look him now. You can appreciate him. That good Minister Brahmi is trying his best under the difficult circumstances with all the arrows pointing at him now. Plenty talk come up, but just to balance the situation, me think of him. He's doing a wonderful job now. Me commend him this la. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member Lomabrik.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Na mi amas long looking you start good play help long. Representing House with me. Me got some comments to make him in relation to the statement here. I just want to give an explanation to how Edrano, being the manager of water supply services in Port Moresby, how it resolved its problem on water supply. I'd like to put this perspective and say this with the Parliament to see the way forward. What I would suggest when I look at this statement, it captures 3 areas of concern. One is the power generation and the reticulation system and the operations. The way forward, if we can see the report of the engineers, because I think, in my view, the problem is to do with engineering. The source is good in Moresby, but for others they use fuel generation. But in Moresby they use hydro and both fuel. So what I would suggest here is that the power regulation should be looked at separately from the operations and the revenue collection. So if there is some problem with the reticulation, then PPL should address that as an engineering matter. They could look at the aging of the equipment, the transformers, and the main power lines. Those are very, very important areas that PPL must look into, and of course itemize that, come up with a cost, how much to replace the reticulation system, and then you can address the issues. Now, with the reform is the way forward. I'd like to give an example. In 2000 and around 2000, in the government of at the time, the current governor, Chris Aveta, was the deputy prime minister. He was able to reform Port Moresby water supply and sewage services and establish Edrano. And Edrano had a problem of not supplying water to almost the entire city of Port Moresby because they had water pressure problem. So when Edrano was formed, Edrano entered into an agreement under the build, operate and transfer system, where it allowed one Malaysian company called JTKRTA. They came in and they managed the problem, managed the system, water supply system, and the government, the parliament approved to give 25 years of management and operation. So that company was able to improve the service of Port Moresby water supply, and now we've never had problem with water supply in Port Moresby. So I'm pretty sure Port Moresby is the profit-making center for PPL in Papua New Guinea. They've been subsidizing other smaller centers. Port Moresby and Lae, they are big centers that make money for the country, and it's a profitable company. When you look at it, it has the potential to make money, sustain itself. Now, I'd like to say that the government should think seriously and look at engaging a reputable investor from outside who has the finance. Perhaps it could be our own Nambon Super or any other of our commercial business arms that can put in money, hire the special consultants and engineers, financial controllers to come in and work together with this particular company on a build, operate and transfer basis. So government, parliament or government can say, okay, we give PPL to a private entity to run for the next 20 years or 15 years. And after 15 years, they'll fix all the problems and give back the operation of PPL back to the government. I think that's what I think is best, because with the experience that the government had with Edrano, I think PPL can be able to try and use that approach. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member belong Gumane.
Mr. Speaker, give me opportunity to debate the important paper presented by the Minister for State Enterprises. The paper I'm opening up debate on the critical service government providing. Year after year, you may work lot of problems and issues inside the PNG power. Me first time Templo Sanablo de la Parliament, 2007 to 2012. Plan to talk about come up de la PNG power. Me stop 10 years outside, I come back to Parliament, and now you may continue to talk about issues of PNG power. So one problem I'm stopping you to talk about PNG power. As you need to go stop district Blomelo no got power. Some years ago we maybe look at power grid extend go up to around 30% of the district. But lately, due to vandalism, power not go inside. We are not connected to the PNG power grid. We're working on it now, Mr. Speaker. We take note of all the valuable contributions by earlier speakers. They're very good valuable contributions for the Minister to take note. But my contribution would be 2+ points as well. One, we don't appear to have the solutions for the problems PNG Power are facing. So, we like put him on notice that on the saying, suppose you be working same something over and over and over, you may expect him him. Same result. And you will go around in a circle now. For the purpose of answer, I want to look at another opportunity that may be available in the world, or technology. All the options that you may look on them require physical transmission, where you run all the electricity generated over copper wire. But me, like Mr. Speaker, me like stating, bring to the attention of Parliament, eager technology available, wireless power transmission. Already available, that technology. So the technology was available in the 1800s. Somebody by the name of Nikola Tesla invented the technology. He was able to produce electricity using the Earth's characteristics, not generating wirelessly. That technology did not become popular because Nikola Tesla did not have the money to develop the technology in the transmitting. So he went to someone by the name of Thomas Edison. Unfortunately, Thomas Edison had a lot of interest in copper mines around the world. So the copper wires he was producing him like promoting Jilla. And he was involved in the direct transmission electricity. So also a conflict of interest make him Nikola Tesla's wireless power technology did not take off. But that technology is available. So I want to put it on record now. Like Toksawalo, Parliament or something, the technology is already available. If we are getting the same, doing the same thing over and over, and getting the same result over and over, we might as well look at other means of producing electricity. Now with the wireless electricity, we may think about the mobile phone technology that's implemented now, all the mobile phone stuff. All it requires is a transmission device, and on the other hand you have a reception device, like the mobile phones. Technology is already available, so Mr. Speaker, me just put him on the notice of Parliament or some technology is available. So if the Honourable Minister can get some of his also line or Luglulo Jelana, but then that's all. That's another way you can Luglulo generate them power. Probably the cheap, which may be cheaper to produce, transmit to our customers. And contribution from the important paper. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member Blomeniamia.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker Law, Luxavelo, all people Blomeniamia. Me, firstly, me la Luxavena talk thank you, Law. Minister Blo State Enterprise Law, presenting this law. Current status law, PNG Power Law, this law Honorable House. Let me talk out na country harim na this law Honorable House and me look sa law current status law, PNG Power. PNG Power and one blah blah this law company where it's a natural monopoly. Natural monopoly minimum and all some plus business where a business where you operate inside blame. I got in this business that's all about operate because no some situation no some power line generation no this facility lo provide him power service inside lo country blue yumi and then one tough business where this business where me operate them PNG Power and operate them in this industry. They're very challenging. Where you can look survey. And then one blood essential services where country and minidim Norman Mary lo country blue you minidim where now you me work lo talk na plenty you me work lo experience him now plenty man Mary blow city blue you me na place blue you me only work lo talk plenty lam one blood cost of business where we contribute go inside the high cost of business inside this black country and one blah power time no got him good black power all business houses or in big black bagarap all man mericks in big black bagarap all plenty blah essential services inside the country too all in big black bagarap lo provide him service all man meri na effect blame and all man meri you me got experience him plenty all good blah talk where you me talk inside law this law Honorable House Minister na me join him all this blah thing where plenty blah all good blah all honorable leaders only talk finish me like getting this blah thing inside law this blah debate law this blah paper law you me work law talk law how by you me try lo kirapim PNG Power where I work like die. Kind of say man me die finish na me work lo try lo kirapim na you be make him stop. So you me ogata me need him thinking blow you me ogata and also me need him thinking blow all workman me blow PNG Power lo bung him thinking na kirapim. You me are story or you me are finish osem PNG Power before time me magi emisa looking PNG Power me one big black company me school let stop to me everything was PNG Power and one good black company too and me must go work lem now me come stop na me looking was PNG Power and me go down before PNG Power he got him name now where did it all went wrong no workman blow PNG Power too time all hire him all workman blow PNG Power because the intellectual blow survey blow when in up make him this blow work na company hire him all lo make him this blow work but you me work lo looking mo say me in out heavy blow power me work lo stop yet so thinking when me like put him na contribute inside lo this la debate them was him you me talk lo salim but more good blah sample up you me all him like management Larry government go give him go private organization lo running management you me yet you me try go him no nap so Larry narabla organization competent company and can sim side lo management na mi bla PNG Power you me come up say order you me no can put him online you me go check no run him or government you me no can appoint him Larry narabla competent company and me run him na mi bla come up say order na you mix him dividend na you me running business staff or PNG Power staff time you me service provider na you me do you me put him online blow me go check the sample you me put him online blow you me at go check na run him down organization staff behind you me put him online blow you me go check na run him organization staff na you me come sim money blow work him school money blow work housing you me come sim lo government lab side you me work lo pami me at lab go check so Larry Mall, competent company, you may give him loan, na dog you running management fee. How much like him? The more you collect, the more we will pay you. So management company, you simply the big blood money come inside, paying you big blood money, so work blow you running business, na you work money. Government me as a shareholder, but me collect the money stuff, some dividend. So kind of some generation, and you looking for some plant the all generation company or live block kirabim kind of say edevu, all narapla where minister me talk left finish generation, and then transmission line them. Facility block PNG power me looking for some an aging facility. Demand block power me guanta but facility no sense like transmission line. You mean no sense service models block transmission line too? It's like old block pipe where me start blaming. Demand me go big plan na demand big plan so legal pipe start bed na wara me had to go through. So this block facility you mean no time lo like transmission. You mean no time lo servicing all this plan na you mean still like him more yet. Na demand block power me go big plan. All man married like him power yet. Na facility where in up lo karim this block demand them no nap. So you mean look transmission generation you can larim naraplaman ronim. Transmission narapla ranim na government supposed you like involved in child na you like ranim larim you look retail service loxim money. So as government like ranim continue to running business. So you can break him up or same na you put him in charge of this like triple generation transmission na retail. You look now when a map you mean up look out him na you mean up manage him you can look this blah. Otherwise, also past time me talk finish. You look na larim narapla competent man run him. Na you stop na you come up shareholder but you know got 100% shareholder. You can work in 50-50, you can work in 70-30 or 60-40. Na larim stop na you looking because right now you needing power. You talk 15 years and long time all man simbagarap stop na business houses all simbagarap stop na all but still talk yet na but you still simbagarap yet. So what we can do now? Look it up in PNG power. So you did him all hands on board. You bring him thinking one time na you kirap him. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm legally contribution.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Leader of Government Business. Oh, sorry. Before me come to you, Leader of Government Business, the question is that the Parliament take note of the paper. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Leader of Government Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice, please.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that the Parliament do adjourn to tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the morning.
The question is that the Parliament be adjourned to tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Parliament is now adjourned to tomorrow at 10 a.m.